One of the students I had in the sports broadcasting class I used to teach at Palomar College in San Diego was a kid named Jordan Caruth. I mentioned him 2 weeks ago in a Q&A video. Jordan continued to stay in touch with me after he had graduated from Palomar. And he went to work at a local sports radio station. He'd get me tickets to San Diego State basketball because he knew I loved the Aztecs. He would check in, he would call just to see how things are going, update me on his career. 10 years later, Jordan ended up coming to work for STAA. The reason was largely because he stayed in touch. That is the most valuable lesson I've learned in my sports broadcasting career. I'm going to share details about it with you in this edition of Q&A with STAA. I'm John Chalesnik. Staying in touch is the most important thing you can do. A lot of people call it networking. I like to call it relationship building. Networking comes from a place of what can you do for me. Relationship building comes from a place of what can I do for you, like Jordan hooking up my family with Aztecs tickets. When Brian Haney was a student at the University of Kansas and later called women's basketball there, he developed a relationship with Bill Self. He stayed in touch with Coach Self after Brian went to Texas Tech to call basketball there. Then, when the play-by-play job at KU came open, Bill Self was one of Brian Haney's biggest supporters for that position. The point is dig the well before you need the water. Build the relationships now. There was an applicant for a job in minor league baseball. He wanted the job desperately and wanted to ask an acquaintance he had made, a Major League Baseball broadcaster, to put in a good word for him. The problem was he hadn't stayed in touch with that man. He didn't dig the well. Now he needed the water and the well was empty. Couldn't use that guy. Staying in touch is part of how I decide who to recommend to employers. When employers ask me, who do you have that might be a good fit for this position? The first people who come up are the people who have stayed in touch. It's so important. There was an opportunity to call a Division, no, it wasn't Division I, but it was a Learfield basketball game, college game in San Diego once upon a time. And one of my members who lives in the region always stays in touch with me was the first person I thought of. And he got to do that game for Learfield. When a top 10 market sports radio PD needed someone, the first person I recommended to him was somebody who continues to, constantly stays in touch with me, an STAA member, and I knew that the PD knew this guy too. And so he got to interview in person for that position. So stay in touch with people. It's the most valuable thing you can do for your sports broadcasting career. In our next edition of Q&A with STAA, another critical piece of sports broadcasting career advice. If you want unlimited access to a treasure trove of sports broadcasting career advice, you'll find it in the STAA member site, but you have to join STAA to get access. Join us now. We'd love to have you. Just click the link in the position description below. If you have a question that you'd like answered in an upcoming edition of Q&A with STAA, email it to me, qa@staatalent.com.